Hey guys, welcome back to Riding the Pine. Today's show is proudly brought to you by our partners in crime, JPM Hardwood. There's no job too small or too big, it's just your imagination. Now, on the show today, I have Chad. Mate, welcome to the show.
We'll see you, Tex.
Likewise, my friend. So we are down here in the Illawarra for the Country Champs that will be happening next Saturday. I thought I'd pull a couple of the coaches and eventually the president when I track him down. But Chad, mate, you're taking care of the under-18 team.
I am, mate, yeah.
So give us a bit of a spiel about yourself firstly.
Yeah, my name's Chad Blanch. I'm currently captain coach of the Berkeley Eagles. Been a part of the Illawarra and Berkeley for too long now, nearly 30 years.
No, not long enough.
Yeah, not long enough, mate. No, this is my life and thoroughly enjoy it. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it because, I've got a wife and kids that, demand a lot of time. So to be able to come and do this sort of stuff, I truly do love it and I am passionate about it.
We are getting killed by our own sign back here.
The sign's giving us a bit of grief back here.
But no, please continue because this is funny because I like this.
Yeah. So this will be my fifth campaign now in charge of the 18 side. We had a COVID year that we missed out on then, but I got to travel to Tamworth for my first 2 seasons in charge of the 18s. I've been with Aaron Tritton the whole time. Thoroughly enjoy this crop of boys, this age. I can really, get them fired up and use the type of language that potentially may not
be good for air, live
air.
Fly,
fly in some of the younger age groups,
definitely.
But the boys seem to thrive it. Like I said, I do thoroughly enjoy this job, and I'm really looking forward to next weekend.
Well, obviously it's a different age group. I spoke to Rob earlier. Obviously he's looking after the 16s, right? And something as simple as the language used between 2 years worth of growth. Kids are growing out of that sort of under 16, sort of that intermediate age into young adults.
Yeah.
And we're kind of, you kind of play, I say parent, but parent in a way of life where we're teaching the life of baseball from an adult perspective.
Yeah, 100%.
So obviously reality is reality.
Yeah.
There's going to be some swearing, there's going to be some beer drinking and sort of some cultures that kind of around baseball, but it's not the end of the world. It's not something to be like the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's just this how things kind of go, and it helps kind of emphasize however you want to go about coaching. And it's hard. Like I asked Rob how he basically coached and parented that kind of group outside of like the language. You feel like you're still having to teach things to 18s from a skill perspective, or like more of it just as a people learning skill? Like where do you think 18s kind of sits in that kind of space?
Yeah, it's a bit of a fine line there. Obviously, they're representative kids at 16 and 17. They know how to play the game.
Yeah.
I'm not teaching them how to throw a baseball, but I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a baseball genius by any stretch, because that's not probably my strength when it comes to baseball. But my ability to be able to interact with them on a level, not being old enough to be their parent, but old enough to demand their respect, and they seem to really thrive on that. I pride myself on my ability to fire a group up and really combine them and bring that camaraderie together, and that's been one of my strengths over the last 5 years, especially that first year I took away. I'm still, I'm playing against them now most weekends in first grade, and it's really good to see their growth and development. But I still have their respect, and I'm still able to communicate with them on a really good level, and that's something I can be really proud of, that they come up to me and they still.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as someone that's approachable, social, you again, as I spoke to Rob, you're building a bond, a chemistry, right? And that's even hard for kids, right? Because they're not used to, how do I say, sort of in life. You go to school, there's people just around.
Yeah.
When you start going to representative kind of level teams, you start traveling, like they're your boys, they're your group,
100%.
right? Like it's I'll say ride and die.
Yeah.
I mean, that's made men's, but it's trying to bring them together.
Yeah.
And understand, hey guys, we're here to work together. It's just us. Parents are supporters. Yeah. Let's keep them outside the dugout. Let's do it for ourselves. And that can sometimes be a bit challenging for people who are used to having like kids walk out in the dugout, sort of less focus. And how do you go about bringing that chemistry together, I guess, the best way?
Yeah, I focus very early on in the piece when I obviously meet these boys during the trial. Some of them I have a little bit of idea about, but most of them each year I get a completely new crop of kids. There's not really too many second years and that sort of thing that we have to deal with at the moment.
Yep.
So they're already a brand new crop of kids that I have to build relationships with. But I really make it, a goal of mine to go around, shake their hands, put their arm around them, let them know that I've got their back.
Because that is sometimes things kids can be a bit intimidated by a coach in general, but even maybe a younger coach who is in their prime of their playing, like, well, he's playing at that sort of level, and it's like, well, there's levels of expectations, right? It's like, hey, I'm not expecting you to be a major leaguer, right? But there's a transition of the whole respect. There is the whole skill level of maturity. Dealing with things that don't always go to plan, and that can be hard as a kid, right? Failure.
Yeah, for sure.
So is there something in particular you may help them with on the failure aspect to kind of allow them to bounce back quicker?
Yeah, I'm really big on let my players, whether it's my local first grade teammates, my under 10s team that I take away, or the 18s team. I'm very big on, um, you know, being able to fail, but still giving them plenty more opportunities. Not just, you made a mistake, you're done. I make sure they know that I've got their back, and I like to let them know early in the piece too what their role is in the team. And if you're my starting second baseman or you're my starting left fielder, you're one of my key guys in the top the top four hitters. I let them know that pretty early in the piece once I've figured out my side, so they know that what their role is in the team, and they know that they can have a poor game. That's not the end of their tournament. That's not the end of their, my opinion of them. I back them to bounce back.
Yeah, because that's hard. I mean, obviously, like, no one's perfect, and errors happen. There's a reason there's an E column in baseball, right? But that mental bounce back as a kid, it can be hard. Like, you can put all the faith into them, tell them everything, and then they make that error and they go, "That's it. I'm getting benched." But how as a coach you relay that confidence? You are, as I said, like, you are my starting position player, my pitcher, whatever it may be. Look, mistakes will happen, but it's not gonna be the end of the world. I want to see you actually how you bounce back from that, because if you bounce back well, your teammates next year, they're going to respect you more because you're not keeping your head down, you're not sort of being negative in the dugout, and you don't actually bring that across to you maybe you're at bat either, because that's hard too.
It is. Baseball's a confidence game, mate. Like, it's easy to have fun and be successful. That's easy. That's the easy part of it. But it's how you, I suppose, respond to the negative side of things and the failures. In baseball is a game built on failures, as everyone knows. And I'm still 35 and struggle at times. So they're kids. I know they're gonna react in ways that potentially may, not be beneficial towards the team or themselves. But that's, I suppose, as a coach and a leader, it's your role to put your arm around them, let them know that they're good, we're good, and I need you to go out there and lead your team around.
Easy. So obviously you've been doing this for quite a while as well. What's, I guess, your best memory around? Let's start with the under 18 kind of age rate. What's the most dearest memory to you?
Yeah, so like, honestly, mate, like, I do thoroughly look forward to this every single year it comes around on the calendar. So they're all been special. But for me, the very first one, so it would have been 2020. Went to Tamworth. So that I sort of got a late call from the president at the time, asking me of my ambitions and if it's something I'd be interested in. And at the time, my wife was like 8 months pregnant, and I was like,
perfect time to just see you, babe.
Yeah, that's a huge call. That was our third child. We've already got 2 young ones, so that was a huge call to be able to commit to that. But I had to talk to her, and she was cool with it. And so me and Trudeau and Barney at the time, we rounded a team up and we went to Tamworth, and I took my dad and my son with me. And for me, seeing the way that those kids themselves looked after my son, they just grabbed him, took him in. Whenever we had a break between games, he was over there playing with the boys, whatever games they were. They got too much energy. They're meant to be resting, but they're out there playing all sorts of games. Team dinners, when all the parents were inside mingling, he was out there on the bowling greens mucking around with the players. And then when we eventually won it on that Sunday, I got a photo at home with my son sitting on top of Lockie Ross's shoulders. For me, that's a photo we still look back on, and I think we will for a long time. And that crop of boys, especially, I still have a lot of good mates in that team now. That they weren't just my kids that I coach. They're actually friends now, and the relationships I built with their parents, which has been the same for all the groups I've had, but that one just being the first one. Not sure what to go away and expect, and how good they played, and realising that because that was my first bit of involvement with juniors for a long time, seeing that the talent is there, and Illawarra is still a force to be reckoned with.
Well, absolutely, and it's the early connections that we make, that the baseball spiderweb that I keep referring to, is that, like, as long as we keep people enjoying it, whether you are a player, a parent, a coach, a new coach, right? When you stick into the baseball kind of web of things and you really have a good time, it grows so quickly. You stay within the game, and it's encouraging not just to yourself from a confidence perspective. Hey, I can take these kids away. Like I made a big call in life.
Yeah.
Normal people may stay home
Yeah.
to look after the family, but you know whether you're doing a work, a travel, a baseball, sacrifices are made.
Yeah.
We just hope that the return of investment of the time is worth it. And
For sure.
honestly, by the sound of that's obviously what's happened. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that's happened,
Yeah.
right? Because obviously now you're giving back even more,
Yeah.
right? And those kids are going to remember that. Hey, this guy sacrificed a lot to bring us here. We had a great time, and now they're still flourishing. And they might return. A few
Yeah.
years that they might become
For sure.
coaches, right? So that's great. So one thing with development, I guess, in the LOR, what is something from an under 18s perspective that you guys would love to have here more to, I guess, even just support the under 18s kind of sector?
Yeah. Ideally a under 16s competition locally in the summer
Yep.
would be awesome for this age group of kids. Obviously, a lot of kids go to Sydney and play and get better, training and competition. That's fine. That's all well and good. But what we need to try and focus on in the Illawarra is having something for the kids to not have to rely on that for the extras.
Yeah.
They got that. They got that here. So potentially in the future, in the not too distant future, there will be that sort of 16s competition, which would be great for that sort of crop of kids that aren't,
Yeah.
of your elite caliber, that
Mhm.
don't want to travel to Sydney,
For sure.
but have nothing to do in the summer.
Yeah.
Keeps them playing before
Absolutely.
they can sort of go up into the grade system. And then also on the other foot, there's, having that academy high performance program potentially coming in would be, obviously,
I
we'll
think that would
touch
be
on
a
that. Yeah,
very. Let's go straight to that
yeah,
because I think that's because this is that age group that
yeah,
really kind of needs that program to give them something locally,
yeah,
not just from a travel perspective, but from a skills development that keeps them going outside of a season. And whether you're having inter squad games or you might pull out a men's senior across, or let's take that team out of our region.
yeah,
Let's start bonding, right? Let's start learning how to travel as a
yeah,
team, grow as a team. Um, I think that would be the best thing for the Illawarra to get that HP sort of facility and
yeah.
clinics going. So, is there any where are we at with that? Do you?
Yeah, so that's I will be involved in some aspect along the coaching side of things with that program. But as
Yeah.
far as the communication and organisational side of things, that's been Aaron Tritton's sort of bread and butter at the moment. He's
Yep.
been hands on, really, really involved with that, which to his credit, like he's got no kids involved in the game at the ball. He's got one son playing currently in under 6 T-ball, but as far as that high performance side of kids,
Yeah,
he's got
yeah.
no need to put as much effort in. He just loves the game, loves Illawarra, and wants to really see it thrive. So they're the type of people, along with like your Craig Laytons and myself and your Jarrett Kamains and all these other sort of guys that are really, really putting their time and effort in locally. They're going to
Yeah.
be the ones that help this region
Program,
thrive and the
yeah, big
program
time.
thrive, because I've got no dramas, like I said earlier, with local kids traveling to Sydney to get the extras
Yep.
and get the better competition, all that. That's, for me, that's not a problem. I've done it. Everyone's done it locally. But what we need to create in the Illawarra is that sense of you can do that as long as it doesn't take away from Illawarra
Duties
duties,
or pride, a
yeah,
passion.
we want to create that culture locally that you can go up there to get your extras
Mm.
and get better. That's fine, but as long as Illawarra and Berkeley and Dapto and Cardinals and whoever it is, Bulli is your number one priority.
Big time.
That's the goal. We need to grow that pride back in Illawarra and the clubland side, because we lose so many kids at the moment who just don't even. They just put all their eggs in the Sydney basket, and that's what's their reason for that. That's I can't
No,
begrudge anyone for that.
yeah, no, we definitely can't force people to do anything, obviously. But what we can do is like, if there's nothing locally, like we can't
I
say,
don't
hey,
blame.
there's no blame,
I don't blame them. I
right?
do
Like I
not
said,
blame them.
I said it's some people will transition to Sydney, stay there. I transitioned, but still kept the
That's
country
the thing.
roots.
Exactly the
It's
same.
because I loved it down
Yeah,
here, right? It was the people that I loved, and generally, as life, you learn who you love, want to
yeah,
be
for
around,
sure,
surrounded.
for sure.
And so, if we have something here for that age group, we're giving them a solid option to
Yeah,
stay, get rooted, and just really love the Illawarra and bring it back to the life that it was. And we're talking to Rob earlier about like Illawarra Flame,
Yeah.
where it is a high performance turning into going against the Sydney
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it kind of, I feel like sometimes baseball needs a bit of rivalry
100%.
to really come like, I can't wait to play
It
XYZ.
grows on it.
And absolutely. So imagine if basically the whole of Illawarra versus the
Oh
entire
yeah.
Sydney.
Well,
I feel like
and us
that would
first, them mentality. That's what we've got to bring back.
big time. And like you think that sometimes travel can be a bit mentally draining for potentially a team from here to Sydney.
Yeah.
How do you think it is from a
That's it.
Sydney
That's
team
right. That's
backwards?
right.
Like, people got to think it's 50-50.
Mm.
Right? If we have to travel up there or they've got to come down here, right? You can mess with people
Yeah.
and play it to your own advantage because you guys have talent. You got the field.
Yeah.
Nothing would please me more to see something like
Yeah.
come out of the high
For sure.
performance from a team perspective.
That'd be great.
So moving on, where do you see the Illawarra, I suppose, the next 3 to 5 years potentially? Do we have? I know that you guys have some things being worked on from an admin level and program stuff. So like, where could we potentially see Illawarra in a few
Yeah,
years?
like I said to you earlier, in regards to some really really good people in some really really good places at the minute locally. So you got Utrido's doing his thing. You got Craig Layton who's doing a hell of a lot of stuff with the growth. Like I'm not going to go in too much detail with that because that's his sort of bread and butter at the moment.
Yep.
But he's really really doing a lot behind the scenes in regard to the junior growth and development, getting business plans made up and really getting time frames in place and who should be doing what and where we need to be at this sort of stage in our career. So the next 3 to 5 years, I think there was another question in there in regards to the T-ball and the grant that we got. So I can sort of do both of them at sort of the one time.
Yeah,
so
let's talk about it. So obviously the audience might not be aware. I think you were able to get pretty much a big grant that helped T-ballers get sort of a lower registration cost.
Yeah. So my wife works for a local disability company called Local Support Solutions, and Pam, the owner of that company, is very very big on just helping. She'd save the world if she could. So when we sort of reached out and told her that this could potentially help, not only the disadvantaged kids and the ones that financially, may think I can't play this because I need to save my money for that, and vice versa. It really gives them that opportunity to be able to do whatever they need without that cost involved, and sort of feel like they're the same as all the other kids. They've got their uniform, they've got their glove, they got their ball. So she was able to donate $7,000 from her business, which went to myself and Trudeau, along with the other leaders of the clubs, put together a proposal to make T-ball free for the 6 and the 8-year-olds across the whole of the Illawarra. We could have just taken that $7,000 to Berkeley and said, this is our money, but that's not our goal.
No.
What's the point of having one strong club, two strong clubs? You want the whole league to thrive, and
one club is it's not a league,
it's not a league. So that was our whole idea, was to bring numbers. And remember, you would have been a kid here playing, like I was a kid here playing. There was fields as far as the eyes could see. The car park,
every field was full
out the back there.
Yeah,
it was, and obviously my son's only been back involved for the last 2 years, and sort of coming back around seeing that it wasn't that anymore. It's a bit sad, but these little things, these little grants and people trying their best to grow the league, I can see it in 3 to 5 years being back.
Oh, definitely.
To where it was.
And now I haven't been down for a few years myself, and obviously just pulling up the sort of this morning, I can kind of see that. All right, the outer fields are what I remember them to be, but what I don't remember is the backfields, and you guys may not be able to see, but now I remember sort of we have basically 3 main diamonds for adult use, right?
Yep.
And they're fenced. They just look like main diamonds that you'd find at every other region. But for me, that whole terminology, you build it, they'll come, right? So you've got the facilities.
Yep.
We're building the programs.
Yep.
You've got the coaches.
Yep.
They're going to come.
I hope so, yeah.
Right?
That's the goal.
And that's the thing. We're giving kids, sport. We're trying to get kids away from screens.
Yeah.
We want them back out playing, having a lot of fun, and bringing those memories back to school, back to school camps, and talking about it, and then that way they bring more. It's just an addictive kind of culture of, hey, I see someone having fun. What are you doing? Tell me about it.
Yeah.
And if someone has, we're not saying baseball is free. We understand, registrations are not free. Not that I say I wish, but I know that's not a reality. Okay, like obviously clubs have to pay certain fees to Baseball New South Wales, insurances, whatnot. So that's a given. But if we get them in at an early age, enjoying the game,
fall in love with it,
absolutely, I think you're going to keep them in there for long term, right? And that's great. So I really commend you guys for doing that program. Now sort of how do I say this? So where do you let's talk about 18s now, because we go from the entry level of baseball at the
Yep.
very low to almost that halfway point instead of 18s.
Yep.
Now that technology has come
Mm.
on board, and obviously, kids would love. I want to hope that kids who are still playing at 18, who are very skillful, eye up the whole MLB dream.
Yep. Sure.
Okay, so with technology coming on board, game changer, speed guns, high performance camps, you feel like they're great kind of tools to help not just the player but potential like scouting
Yeah.
and what, like, you feel that's good enough.
Without a doubt, mate. There's, technology is a wonderful thing if used correctly,
Yes.
and obviously those type of things. Even just being a kid, knowing that you're out in the field, there's a camera back there, and you're broadcasted to the world potentially.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have that growing up, and what a feeling that would be. But just for the scouting and even just the local coaching side of things, to be able to country baseball, for example, if you're picking a team out of Sydney and all those games are being streamed, instead of the coaches being there 12 hours a day watching every single bit of baseball, they can go back to their hotel room. They can pull up a screen and they can scout from their hotel room, and little things like that. And obviously bringing the competitive side of things in with all those guns and the HP programs, getting the kids to compete with each other.
Yeah.
Who throws the hardest? Who's lifting the most? Who's doing this? Who's doing that?
We did it back then, but without the technology.
Without that, we just done it.
No proof.
Yeah, that's right.
So now we have the ability to prove skills, stat collect,
Yeah.
and it's great to be able to share, because I know that we spoke about when kids start to get their license and parents start to drive them less. Now my parents and family can still track me playing.
For sure.
Right, and so Game Changer is a huge kind of aspect of that. While it might be coming across as a basic live stream, we can obviously divvy up like highlight kind of clips, and it's just great for everyone involved. So lucky for you, I'll be helping to live stream.
Cool.
This
How good's
tournament.
that? That's unreal.
Because kids, like, even I'll say kid, even when I play state league and I go home, I'll go rewatch my game. For
sure.
Because I just love it now as a fan perspective, looking back, what I could have done differently, perhaps.
Yep.
And I think from a coaching, a player,
use it as a tool.
The tool there for learning is massive. So I really think, as you said, that the right technology used correctly really helps kids grow.
Yep.
So, and that's great. Well, hey, that'll wrap us up today. But thanks for coming on the show, Chad. It was, mate, always a pleasure to have you on.
Appreciate you having me, Tex.
So as I said, guys, the country champs will be starting on Saturday of this week. We'll see the 16s and the 18s in action. We're going to have Newcastle, Far North Coast, Central Coast team. So head on down to Berkeley here if you are local. If not, we'll be putting the links up there for the live streams, the Game Changer, and everything you need behind. So until next time, we'll see you on the next time, and take care. Bye.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.